I am someone who personally is very old school. So my relationship with shopping pre-COVID has not changed to what my relationship with shopping is now, post-COVID. I have never purchased clothes online. And I think that's where the landscape has changed post-COVID, is that we do a lot of online shopping now, our groceries, our clothes, you know. But for me personally, I still love the full experience of going shopping, feeling the fabrics, trying the clothes on. So my relationship with shopping has not changed since before COVID and now after COVID whatsoever. And obviously speaking with a lot of other people and getting recommendations on sites and shopping experiences and where they've purchased and they were satisfied, that's so important. But for me, I didn't want to order a garment and then it's like 2 sizes too small for me. I love the full experience of going shopping. So I'm still in that frame of mind, and I don't think I will change. Like I said, I'm old school like that. Fast fashion compared to sustainable fashion. Fast fashion to me is definitely a feminist thing, but now we're going into the ideology of what it is. The sustainable movement has got an ideology and an agenda behind it. So whoever's pushing the agenda and whoever are the stakeholders, there's definitely going to be a feminist woman's pro or whatever behind it. It just depends on who's pushing that agenda. But for me, the ideology of women's rights, and is it pushing that specific agenda, I think you can dissect it into several things, because I don't feel that at the end of the day, we still have the choice, whatever suits us and our unique preferences and what works for us and our integrity in shopping. Because women are such key role players in shopping. We're the decision makers, whether it be for the household, the family, the home, we're the nurturers, the home executives. We do make those decisions. But it depends on where we feel that we can make those decisions that have a positive impact on ourselves and those around us and the environment. So it depends. For me, it always depends. It depends if you're, it comes down to so many things. If you're in support of renting, thrifting and swapping, then that's what works for you. But if you're if you're supporting high fashion labels that are now suddenly going conscious and going green, what is the agenda and the ideology behind that? Is it just for profit because they're greenwashing their labels? And then of course you've got to question, well, am I supporting the correct ideology and that brand house and that brand name, or am I actually going to go for the more slow, conscious movement that actually works for me and aligns with my integrity as a consumer and as a woman? It goes back to all of these sustainable movements that have become very fashionable and very trendy. To be green and to be conscious, going back to fair wages, going back to safe working environments. It all started with food, beauty, cosmetic products. What am I putting on my skin? Where is my food coming from? And the same concept, I personally think, applies to fashion. Where is my clothes? For sure. Where is it coming from? How is it being made? What is the impact on the environment? Those things are really, really important. But it comes back to, again, like you say, personal preference. Are we actually aware? We have to educate ourselves and each other on the different facets and obviously what appeals and what aligns with you. From my understanding, there's cruelty-free, there's circular, there's conscious, there's slow. All of these make up sustainable fashion practices. But for me, where I feel that it's not in terms of the integrity of what the brand is putting out, say, for example, a heads of CEO, like the big brands, we're not going to name names, the CEOs are still males. So the movement is being led by women, but the CEOs that are making the decisions at the top are still men. So we definitely need to, the sustainability movement is still very gendered, and it has to be more dynamic in terms of the key role players and the people at the top. I'm not saying get rid of the guys, but we definitely need to have more women that are making key decisions and CEOs of these fashion houses. And secondly, when it comes down to where it's working, I think having these platforms to engage, educate, and have this dialogue is vital, because that's how we educate the consumer and ourselves, and how it impacts the planet and our decisions. But where I think it doesn't make sense sometimes is that, say, for example, we're now changing our materials from no leather, cruelty-free, saving the animals, to mushroom leather, pineapple leather, mango leather. That is phenomenal. Like, I'm in full support of that. But then they're replacing other sources of other materials like PVC and polyester to then replace those things, and those things take a toll on the manufacturing process. So in one way you're winning, but in another sense you're adding more plastic to the environment, the animals. But we're manufacturing and using more water, emitting more CO2, and adding more plastic, those microplastics from the polyester. I'm not a technical expert, but in one way it works, but in another way the processing is actually putting more pressure. So you're winning in one sense, but you're not winning in the other sense. We are the key decision makers, and we actually resonate with, in terms of the industry, where I'm not saying statistically, but over 80% of garment workers that are making our clothes are women. Whether it's fair trade practice or not, we're the whistleblowers. We're the one making those decisions and bringing those topics to the front, you know, and we're the ones that resonate with that. A woman will only resonate with that. With any industry, we have to look at the impact of our choices and our consumer decisions on the environment. And when it comes to sustainable fashion, it would be amazing to see more brands doing things like, I just recently read an article about, you know, design competitions, trash to fash. I mean, upcycling, recycling, and also promoting swapping and thrifting. I think those are fantastic. You know, to make a garment costs so much more to remake it than to share it with someone else and let someone else enjoy that. That's what vintage clothing is all about. And I think that's so special, that you can still enjoy a quality product that's been restyled, refashioned, and redistributed without impacting on anybody, but actually giving more joy and longevity to the garment and to gifting it to a person. I think that's wonderful. Women have always been the voice of change. We've always been the ones to stand up and to stand out and to speak about the things that nobody wants to speak about. But in terms of fashion and sustainable fashion, we're the key decision makers. Let's not deny it. Traditionally, we are the ones shopping for the home. We are the ones doing all the caretaking and the decision making. So it is our responsibility to teach our kids and those around us to be more aware of our impact and our footprint in terms of our purchasing power, because we have a lot of purchasing power. So we need to use that purchasing power very diligently and very smart because we have a lot of power in doing that. So the more we talk about it and the more we have platforms like this, we can definitely impact. If it's just one other person that makes a difference in itself.
I think before COVID, I was already in the state of trying to limit my purchases and being a conscious buyer. So when COVID hit and the buzzword was essential items, and it just like really married what I was already, where I was already as a person. So I think purchasing with clothing, it's still buy whatever you need, don't buy unnecessary items. I mean, now, like with the economy being so bad, I'm still in that state, like buy whatever you need, you know. I don't need like 5 pairs of sneakers. If I have black or colored ones or white ones, the sense of buying a lot more, I don't do that. And then I think I'm more open to buying online. So toiletries, appliances, books, whatever. But with clothing, I still need to be in store. I still need to feel the fabric. I still need to try it on. And so I'd rather go in store and do that. I don't buy online for clothes because then now like the fabrics are so flimsy. Like the other day I just bought a pair of pants and they just really felt like paper. You know, I'm like, I need to feel this because I can't get the sense of it online. So yeah, clothing, I need to try it in store. Now that with lockdown, we have like weight fluctuations, you know. So I think what we can do as women is just, if we want to be more sustainable, we need to develop our own personal styles because that's the gist of it, honestly. Like if you know what your style is and you're comfortable in that, every time there's a fad or a trend, you won't be falling into it because you are comfortable in what you wear. All you will be doing if there's like a new item that you like and you're interested in, it'll just be adding and enhancing what you already have. But if you don't really have that locked down, your own personal style, you'll just be like falling for every trend that comes out there. So if you want to be a sustainable woman and making sustainable choices, number one would be like actually knowing what your style is. And I would also say just investing in timeless pieces and good fabrics, you know, like clothing that you know is gonna last you a year in, year out, and like season in, season out. So yeah, if you just buy like a wool cashmere coat, that's like 4 to 10 winters in, you know. So yeah, invest in like these item pieces and just be aware of your style.
I've learned to be very, very, very be comfortable within my own skin. It's okay to express yourself. Sometimes some things cannot be for everyone. Do you know what I'm saying? And some things can be, and it's okay to be outlandish. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be authentic. You don't have to look like anybody else. You don't have to follow the trends. You can just be stable in your own signature style and be okay with that. You know, so I think that's what I've learned about fashion. It's okay to just express yourself and be stable, and yeah, make your mark regardless. I think it's very convenient. There's a convenience about it. Good trends that, like this, you see the stuff that I'm wearing right now. It's very, it's up, it's hip, it's trendy. The hair, all of that. If I was not looking, thank you. So if I was not looking at social media and exploring what can I do next? What is up next? Like the times, what are the times saying? And fashion does give us signals as to where we are moving, as to where we are going, as to where we are at. So for me, I would say that it's a very, very good one. Even though the negative part of it would be the bashing and the bullying that happens when it comes to the negative self-images that we see, and when it comes to the young girls, especially, because I'm really worried about the young girls and the young boys who feel the certain pressures to look a certain way, to achieve a certain goal, to get approval from people. That's the only thing I don't like about social media, because it can be very, very fake, right? It can be very artificial. But other than that, when it comes to fashion, when it comes to social media, the positives are more, and we have to look for them intentionally. We have to look for the positives intentionally rather than the negatives. I think when you talk about sustainability, and I had a chance to look at it and research it myself, it's not just benefiting and one individual. It's for everyone, right? It looks at the environmental aspects, it looks at the economic aspects, and it also looks at the social aspects, and that's sustainability. So it holds us all together. And I think it's such a beautiful practice. And it's, as we're talking about intentionality, right? We're continuing with that. And I feel like it's such a beautiful concept. And I am for that. We need that. But we need to, and I think we have been practicing sustainable fashion for a very long time. When a sister or friend of mine was pregnant, clothes would have to be passed on from one person to another person. And I think that if you gain weight or you lose the weight, I think it's very beneficial rather than this whole thing of controlling. And I think that's a very subjective way of looking at it, a very subjective opinion, way of looking at sustainability when it comes to fashion, when it comes to just the way that we live around. And we have to be really, really, it gives us a chance to also take responsibility.
Yes.
And to be accountable.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
I think it's such a beautiful practice, guys, like the accountability. Instead of like being all willy-nilly about life and about the environment, about the economy, about, you know, our society, it makes you pickle and be so aware of what you wear, what you represent, your food, the way that you eat your food, your practices on a daily basis. And I love that. And I want to be for that. But I think the challenging thing would be to commit, right? To always to commit to it. Like what are you about? Out the years, passively, I have been, you know, there's some places and things where I have practiced sustainable fashion in my life, right? For Color Purple, for example, when we had the premiere of the Color Purple, there was a friend of mine literally came with like a huge black plastic bag and said, guys, my sister is cleaning up her closet and this is what we've got.
Wow.
And we looked and we rammed into the black plastic bag and we find some really awesome rare finds. There was a dress that I wore for the actual premiere of the Color Purple, which I took from the black plastic bag. It was a bridesmaid's dress. It was so huge. So the guy had to, like, you know, pick it up and cut it. By the time I went to those the Color Purple premiere, I looked like $1 million. I didn't even have to spend a cent. I didn't have to worry about, and I just bought the shoes and I bought the makeup and I bought the jewelry. But other than that, I'm all for, you know, sustainable fashion. I think it's very important to take, you know, stock of making those quality decisions when it comes to what you wear, and just to have those. For me, I'm all about signature pieces. I'm all about those things that I would know that they would last. I love me some, you know, when it comes to leather, I love taking those items that I know that are going to last me for like years. There was a beautiful jacket that I've had ever since, my gosh, ever since forever. I think 2014, if not 20.
Wow.
Yeah, I bought this piece in Hong Kong, and for some reason it was torn somewhere, you know, on the sleeve. And I was like, there is no way. I'm all about having those signature pieces. And I know sometimes we are rushing and we want to do things in a rush, but it would be very important to just take stock. It's a combination of everything, hey? In terms of our music as well, in terms of everything else, the arts, everybody is just like, okay, so now we are out of this. So like, what is next, you know? And I think that, okay, the most beautiful thing is that we can rebuild. You know, everybody's born with this beautiful resonance and that beautiful thing of just being resilient, right? We have resilience within like the human spirit. It's in each and every one of us. So when it comes to this fashion and shopping after post-COVID, that thing affected a lot of us. And I think it sort of makes you, it sort of makes you look at life a different way. And for me, it has made me be more daring. If I was not daring before, and if I was safe before, I'm not safe now. If I was, you know, a little bit apologetic about the way that I look, if I was apologetic about the way that I talk, I was apologetic about my voice, about my look, my everything, I'm not going to do that anymore. So if there's anything that, you know, post-COVID, when it comes to fashion and expressing myself, has done is to make me more daring. It has made me more outlandish with my choices, and, you know, just to really take life as it comes, and not be afraid. Be brave, be courageous, right?
Yeah.
Be courageous.